If you rent out part of your home, right, as your kind of initial spot where Airbnb sort of launched, right? I have a spare master bedroom and I rent it out. That's a 280 cap A issue, right? Because you have this, what portion of the home is exclusive use, right? So again, when we go back to this mixed use vacation home, the question becomes, is it a dwelling unit, right? And we talked about that, the cook, the sleep, the bath, right? So if you have those elements, now it's a residence, or not a residence, a dwelling unit. Then the question becomes, is it a residence, right? Did we have more than 14 days of, again, I always say deemed personal use, or 10% of the days rented at fair market value? And I can't stress enough the days deemed personal use, because that's again, use by any owner. So when you have a multi-owned property, it is a problem. So even a husband and wife owning a second home, right? Owning a vacation property. If you have a married couple, and I can tell you by personal experience what happens. We used to own a beach property. People will look at the calendar and go, Kelly, you have the beach property. I see it's not rented next week. Can we go down there? Well, my standard answer was yes. And if you click on that link, it'll tell you what the rate is, because that's the rental rate, right? But people come out of the woodwork to use the property. And a lot of people let folks use their property in condos, and I get that. But recognizing that that occurs, where's this personal use come in? Because if you ask the client, did you go to the condo? They're going to say no. And when I did go, I was all working days, and therefore I have no personal use. If you're not asking and looking at a calendar or querying, right, of did any family go down there, right? Well, yeah, we let our sister, my wife's sister and family went down there for 5 days. Well, that's 5 days of deemed personal use. And even if the sister went down and paid the regular rate to the management company, and they paid the $1,500 for the 5 days, that's still deemed personal use, because it's use by any family member. You don't get this exception for a family member if they pay fair value. Okay. So use by any family member, use by any owner. Okay. So, and it's, siblings, children, linear descendants. A little bit more narrow than some of the other related party rules under the code, but it's family members, right? The other issue you run into is people say, well, we auctioned off a 3-day stay at the condo for the local charity. We donated 3 nights of vacation, and they auctioned it off. That's deemed personal use because it's occupancy at less than fair market value. I know people that say, well, I have a business partner, I have a good employee, I have a pastor, whomever, we'll let them go down and use the condo. That's deemed personal use, right? It's use at less than fair market value.